Says, I apologize for asking a question that has been asked a million times. I understand the rationale of Jesus' death as our remedy for our terminal condition brought about by sin. But what is the exact mechanism of this, though? How did he destroy death and the power of Satan through his death? What does his sacrifice translate into? How does his sacrifice translate into a redefinition of the human race? So I encourage you to go to our website, type in the search engine, why is Jesus' death necessary for God to heal me? And I wrote a long blog on this, explaining this. I will mention some things right now, but I think you will find some additional helpful insights in that blog. And I encourage people, when they do have questions, to always check our blog and type in your question in our search engine on our website, because I have blogs, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them going back more than a decade now, that answers many of these questions. So I really do encourage you to go there and see if you get your answer. But when Adam sinned, the condition and nature of humankind changed. The principles that life are built upon, you might call them the laws of health, but the laws that life operate upon were displaced, and the law of sin and death were now the primary driving force in humankind. What's the law of sin and death? It's the opposite of the law of love. It's the principle of fear and selfishness. Without intervention, the humankind and all life on planet Earth would die. God did not leave the human species of the planet. He immediately interceded there in Eden with grace to hold at bay the powers of evil. Satanic forces were held in check to a certain degree. He interceded in the hearts and minds of human beings, putting enmity between human beings and Satan, so that we have a conviction of wrongdoing, a desire for something better, dissatisfaction with evil. Without that Holy Spirit intervention, right in Eden, putting a desire for good, humankind would have made a perfect confederacy with evil angels and been hardened permanently, and that condition is a terminal condition. And then he interceded with the condition. By becoming human and taking the condition upon himself, he was tempted in every way just like we are, yet without sin. And with each temptation, Christ chose with his human abilities to choose love and reject the temptation of fear and selfishness. And at the cross, he is faced with a choice. Use power to save self, because he had the power. He wasn't helpless like the thieves. He could call with a snap. He could just think. He didn't even have to do the old twinkle of your nose thing, okay? He just had to think it, and he could have destroyed his enemies and saved himself. But if he saves himself, then the motive of self-preservation or self-centeredness is not eliminated out of the species human. He became human. And so he destroyed that infection of fear and selfishness in the humanity that he took upon himself. And this is why he was able to predict his rise again, because he restored perfectly the law upon which life is built, the law of love. And he rises again in a humanity cleansed and purged by his own free will choices. And this is how he saves the species. The species of the human race is saved in the individual person of Jesus Christ, because he was a real, living, flesh and blood human being that lived sinlessly and perfectly and destroyed the infection. And then he becomes the source of salvation. It says in Hebrews 5:9, that once he was made perfect, he became the source of salvation for all who obey him. He is the vine, we are the branches metaphorically. He achieved perfect, sinless human character. When we identify with him through faith, the Spirit takes what he achieved, reproduces it in us. We are metaphorically reborn, recreated, have new hearts, have new motives, have new desires, have new abilities, because we have the power to make a choice, and then we are given divine strength to follow through with the choice to love others more than self, and thus we are transformed in that process. But all that is a gift of Christ, so it's no longer I that live, but Christ lives in me. Okay, next question.